So I've been reviewing movies that I like and movies that my friends like, but now it's time to review a movie that is so universally disliked that even the people who made it don't like it. Green Lantern. So we open up and start our movie with an info dump, always a good start, where we talk about the intro to the Green Lantern Corps and how they're based on Oa and the Guardians are these super powerful immortals who made the Green Lantern Corps, and that there's this great evil Parallax and how he's going to be broken free because he's a bad guy and bad guys shouldn't be free, and the great Abensur is the one who took down Parallax in the past, and if he eats too many souls he'll gain the power to be free again. Then we cut to a mission where Parallax is now eating the souls that he supposedly shouldn't have, breaks free and gives the boys the old soul suck. And all of this is in the first 3 minutes of the movie, which makes you feel like, wow, none of this really actually mattered, and why tell these things if you're just gonna make them useless 7 seconds later. We then see two members of the Green Lantern Corps talking to each other. One of them is a character named Sinestro, and the other one is the legendary Abensur, who quickly realizes that Parallax is breaking free and goes to rush to go fight Parallax, and then proceeds to be quickly beaten by Parallax because he soul sucked down 3 souls, and that's more than enough to be powerful than the most powerful Green Lantern that ever lived, and who was able to beat him at his full strength, but that does not matter because it's not convenient for the plot. We then cut to our friend Hal as he's laying there with his new gal pal, some unknown woman that'll get no screen time in this movie, and it's just there to show that our friend Hal is good with the ladies, as he quickly gets up and rushes to his car and wraps the gift that'll come up later to quickly meet up with his childhood friend Carol Ferris, who is doing a test to show the government that the fighter drones that their company made really work and has to go prove it, but he has to prove that he's the bigger man and the better pilot and breaks the rules of engagement and flies high to the sky of the skies, where the drones don't work so good, and he takes down the drones, but in turn has a flashback of his daddy dying, rest in peace Daddy Jordan, and has to eject out of his airplane, crashing his $4 million airplane just for the sake of his ego. Then everybody gets mad at him because he's a better pilot than the robot, and they might lose their contract, and a whole bunch of people get fired, and this one guy tells him that he better watch his back, and that totally won't come up later, and it's not just a bad Chekhov's gun. And we're about 16 minutes into the movie, and Abensur finally crash lands on Earth and tells his ring to go seek out the most worthy human to be the newest Green Lantern. And while the ring is searching for the best human, Hal Jordan goes to his nephew's birthday party where all of his family is worried about his safety because his plane accident's on the news, and they complain that he's going to be just like his daddy and is going to die in an airplane because his job is literally a test pilot, and they're mad at him for being a test pilot because being a test pilot's bad, even though it's been his job for like the past 15 years, and this just doesn't make any sense. Then he brings his little nephew a gift and tells him to stop being worried, and then bails like a good family figure, and is then picked up by a green orb that takes him to Abensur, and Hal Jordan just acts like that's not the first alien that humanity has ever seen, and that's just a normal dude, and tries to save his life, and Abensur is like, dude, I am dying, take this ring, say the oath, put it in that lantern over there, and then everything will be fine, and then just kinda dies. We then cut to Hector Hammond at his house, who's just kind of eating food when the government shows up at his door and goes, you need to come with us. And he reasonably asks where to, and they say, we need you to dissect an alien. He's like, dope, I'm down. And then they proceed to knock him out for some reason and take him to a secret underground laboratory where he asks, why did you need to do that? I was willing to come anyway. And he gets the reply, you know, the government just likes to do government things. But first we then need to cut to Hal Jordan trying the ring out, which then the ring possesses him and forces him to learn the oath. And then the ring is charged, and then we cut back to Hector Hammond, who's dissecting the body of Abensur. And yes, exactly how I said that is exactly how it feels when you watch the movie. And I know you're wondering, how far are we into the movie now? We're only about 30 minutes into the movie, and we need to speed it up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. So let's keep on going. We then cut to Carol and Hal chatting it up and talking about how they still have feelings with each other in a little redneck bar. And then Hal steps out of the bar because they're done having their little talk and gets jumped by those people whose jobs he lost earlier in the movie, and then he punches them with the Green Lantern Fist, which is the first use of the Green Lantern power, which now that the ring is activated and charged and used, it forces him to go to the Green Lantern homeworld, Oa. And after warp speed travel, he justifiably passes out, and then he proceeds to wake up and see a fish man. He's like, wow, you're a fish man, and the fish man replies with, I guess I do resemble fish people on your world. And then there's another info dump, which is just explained as, you know things because the ring knows things. which is the laziest writing. And then we get to see the ugliest Green Lantern suit to ever exist. It's really, really gross. And then Hal learns how to fly, and then we have a big Green Lantern meeting to talk about the death of Abin and how they need to fight Parallax. Then we quickly cut into the training with Kilowog, who teaches him the power of Sunny D. And how the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Then Sinestro shows up and jumps out Jordan for having Abinsur's ring. And then Hal is quickly like, screw this, man, I didn't sign up for any of these problems, and quickly goes home. We then find out that Hector Hammond is just some kind of school teacher, and he's learning that he now has telekinesis because he's been possessed by Parallax after dissecting the body of Abinsur. We also learn that his daddy is the senator and has been working on the contract with Carol Ferris and her company that Hal screwed over earlier on, and Hammond does not like his dad. And the only reason he was even allowed to dissect the body in the first place is because Big Daddy Hammond had to give them a little tug to give his son any sort of credibility in this world. And now, a message from Parallax. Soul suck! And the Green Lanterns are gone. And Sinestro has to come back and ask the Guardians to make him a ring out of fear instead of will to go fight fear itself. And they're like, yeah, you know what? For you, Sinestro, anything. Then we cut to a party where Carol and Hector are there and have apparently been friends for a very long time. And then his dad's there, and he leaves, and then Hector is like, I hate you, Dad, and then tries to kill him in his helicopter, and Hal Jordan saves the day, with this being the first appearance of the Green Lantern on Earth in the movie at 1 hour and 5 minutes. Hector then transforms into full Hector, which kind of looks like Rocky from the movie Mask, and obsesses over Carol because apparently the power of fear makes you really, really horny. Then cut to the secret government facility, where Hector then ends up attacking everyone in the secret government facility because his dad's there, and that's making him angry. And Hal suddenly shows up, even though he's never been to the secret government facility before, because apparently the ring knows exactly where he needs to be, and the most powerful weapon in the universe loses to just some blob of a man who has telekinesis. Then he touches the Green Lantern and realizes that it's Hal, and that makes him kind of upset, and he kind of just lets Hal leave, and then Hal goes home and complains to his friends about how he's scared, and they're like, dude, just overcome that ish. And he's like, you know what, fam, you right. Then for some reason Hal flies all the way back to Oa to ask for permission to defend his planet from Parallax when he quit the Green Lantern Corps in the first place, and has no need to come back to Oa for permission because he's just going to fight Parallax either way. And then flies all the way back to Earth to confront Hector Hammond because Hector Hammond has kidnapped his girl, and they have a confrontation where Hal has suddenly learned how to win. And then Parallax shows up to Earth and is like, I want Abinsur's ring and let's fight. And Hal's like, let's go then. And Parallax is just all soul sucking the people of Earth, and Hal flies into space, and Parallax is like, you know what, that ring is more important than infinite power and then getting the ring. And they both fly towards the sun, and Hal tricks him into going into the sun, where he is then burned alive. And then the other Green Lanterns just show up and save Hal Jordan, which is really messed up because they just kind of sat down and watched the fight happen while Hal was risking his life, and they just sit there and just like, you know what, I guess then now that he's finally finished the thing that we needed him to do, now we should save him. Then we cut to Hal and Carol sitting down and having a conversation, and they're like, we're finally in a real relationship. And then they kiss, and then the credits go, and for some reason they have an after credit scene because they think they're going to get a sequel to this movie, where Sinestro is now putting on the Yellow Lantern ring that they made at the beginning of the movie that's just now showing up, and it's really bold of them to assume that they were going to get another movie. So you'll notice I'm at about 8 minutes and 20 seconds in this video, and normally there's an extra minute and a half of stuff about me talking about this movie, but I could not bring myself to talk more about this movie, and I'm gonna fill this spot with a reminder that this movie is awful. Please do not watch this movie if you are expecting a good representation of what the Green Lantern is as a character, but I will say that if you want to have a good time with friends, drink a few beers, and just tear into a movie, this is the perfect movie for that. And I do not feel bad for saying that because even Ryan Reynolds hates this movie. He hates it so much that he put a joke about it in Deadpool. And if you want to see a movie that is actually good, that represents Hal Jordan's origin story, I would recommend that you watch Green Lantern First Flight, the animated movie that came out in 2009, because DC animated movies are vastly superior to the DC live action films 100% of the time, with no exceptions. And with that, I will end this video about 30 seconds early. I am sorry about that. Again, I couldn't bring myself to talk about this garbage movie any longer. Thank you for checking out my review, and if you like what you saw, please give me a like down below and hit that subscribe button if you want to see future content. And leave me a comment for any sort of movie, game, album, anything related to entertainment you would like to see me review. And with that, I'm Isaiah, and I will see you next time.